Mr. Billy Gould, how are you?
I'm great.
I keep coming to Angel Dust all the time. I mean, to the Fate No More catalog, all the way to We Care a Lot, Introduce Yourself, and then every time I hear Angel Dust, I get to discover something new. In what ways Angel Dust has surprised you through the years?
Whew. Good question. I mean, when we did it, when we made the record, and the way we make all of our records, we kind of stop listening to them as soon as they're mixed. They're finished. We spent so much time in making them and so much focus that we don't want to hear them anymore. They kind of have their own life after this. So I've been in places where people have played it and I've heard it, and it always reminds me of different things. I mean, when around the time of King for a Day, when we were touring, I'd hear things from Angel Dust, and they would remind me of all the things I wanted to get away from, because we kind of experienced that already, and I was looking for new places to go. I mean, now, as time's gone on, and now it's been 30 years, I listen to it now, and it's a completely different thing. Mm-hmm. And it's different than I thought. It's different than I look at it as before. It's heavier than I remember it being. And it's very dense, but something about the color of it, I'm starting to like it a little bit more. It's starting to sound youthful. And before that part never resonated with me before.
I want you to guide me to make a walkthrough. Let's dig in some of the sounds, of the sounds that have intrigued me throughout all this time. We get to listen, and then how they make it, where is this sound coming from? It's in the first seconds of Midlife Crisis. It's like when you hear a door open, it's not just like a door, it's like a... That one. you know what I'm getting to?
Yeah.
That...
I don't, it's got to be a guitar feedback. I don't know. I actually don't know what that is. And I know that sounds, you're right.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
So the mystery keeps going. That's better, man.
I would say.
The opening from Caffeine has this maybe a wolf getting near the chicken farm.
This was coming from Roddy. He just compiled a bunch of sounds that he liked, that were evocative for him. I think that these sounds actually came from a sound effects CD. I think you can find them. In fact, I seem to remember being somewhere where I had somebody was at a garage sale and they had a sound effects CD thing, and I just got them. They were selling them really cheaply out of their house, and I put it on, and the first two tracks were those sounds from Caffeine, which it made me laugh.
Smaller and smaller. I have it here. There's a very breakdown of the song that has a chant.
Yes.
Let me show you. It's like a... Here it comes.
Yeah. It's a Native American chant, actually. I remember working on that one because we liked it. We liked the atmosphere of it and the feeling of it. But to get it to fit with what we were already playing was really hard because the samplers were very primitive back then. I think we had it stretched on an eventide. It's a kind of it's called a harmonizer, I guess. And you had to use like this mathematical calculations to make it fit between these two parts. And I remember it maybe took to get that sample to fit about an hour, maybe back and forth until it felt right.
Little details, but they really add to the atmosphere of and the texture of what you're hearing.
Absolutely. That's right.
The mind of the listener, the imagination takes a life of its own. So
exactly.
And you construct a myth for where these sounds come from. It amplifies your own creative fluids. I mean, as a
Exactly.
listener.
Well, our approach to music has always been this way. I mean, our albums sound different, but they always have to have a visual thing to them where when you hear them, they take you someplace visually. You see yourself in a place. That's when we write and we know we're on the right track is when that happens to us. And in this case, like you're feeling kind of what we wanted to accomplish. It's something, it takes you past the music to a place, hopefully.
When Angel Dust, arrived, it completely, changed my world in a way that the album has almost like a horror scope.
Sure.
It gives me goosebumps and chills till this day, and has that magic that I know precisely where I was the first time I hear it and what I felt then. I mean, maybe many people, get the Beatles, the White Album, others get the Rolling Stones. No, for me, it's Angel Dust.
Very interesting. Well, you and your experience being in Chile must have been really intense because we had just the year before come to Viña del Mar. And that was like, I think people were not used to something like us then. And it was like, what the hell was this? And then we came out with this crazy album that was even different than the Real Thing stuff. That must have been really like very, I would say assault is the right word, but it must have really made you wonder what the fuck was going on. Like made a big impression.
I know Viña and then Angel Dust, took the world of us by storm.
That album was a definite exercise of freedom on our point, because even by American standards, off of the Real Thing, Angel Dust was really a hard departure into a much really unknown place, right? We didn't even know where it was going. We were just following something blindly. So, that hopefully that it sounds like, I mean, what I'm hearing from people now, that spirit that we went into this, people picked that up when they heard it. They made an impression. So that our spirit, our intention kind of made it through the music.
My father used to say that creators don't always know the personality of their creation, and it's like fathers don't always know the kids they're raising to.
Absolutely right. I mean, our approach with music definitely is like having children, where, when I say we don't listen to music after we finish it, it's kind of like you're going to give the birth to the kid. You did what you could. You try to give him, and the promotion and doing the interviews and the touring is kind of like putting them through school. But at a certain point, they're going to live and stand on their own merits and not about us anymore. And so when I hear and we talk about a record that we did 30 years ago, I don't feel so personally connected to it anymore, because I kind of feel like it stands on itself. What it did, I can admire it as somebody else's thing. It has its own identity now.
When Angel Dust opens with Land of Sunshine, fortune is smiling upon you and your future, etc. Maybe I was thinking about the lyrics and the themes of the album. Maybe unconsciously or consciously are a commentary on Angel Dust itself, because you were, the Real Thing hit many months later, with Epic, and achieving a status in MTV rotating and radios. And this was the band that was the underdog in some ways, that got to be in a big stage, in a big medium stage. So I was thinking that the album itself has a commentary on the band itself, in a meaning that it's like the American Dream, Faith No More, the Real Thing, and everyone was expecting, to follow the American Dream or the hard work, talent, to Angel Dust. And that is a deconstruction of the American Dream. I mean, saying like, fuck it.
Oh, I would say that's definitely true. And we were working on a very unconscious level. But I would say some of that is definitely true. I mean, every society you live in is a construction, right? And, as an artist, we became successful in a certain way, but we were also, when you become successful, you become defined within a system. And, you know, our survival, I mean, one way to survive is to just let you be, just decide, okay, whatever society now is going to tell me I'm going to be that, because that's the pathway to success. Society has already agreed that I'm going to do okay now. They've told me who I am. And as an artist, sometimes, you know, society's not always right. It's sometimes it can be a very superficial projection it puts on you. And if you want to do things that are interesting, that keep you excited, one way to not do it is by following those rules. You kind of have to listen. You always have to listen to your inner voice, because it got you there in the first place. And I think unconsciously there was a real rejection of these things that were projected on us. I would say that's definitely true.
Amazing record, by the way.
Oh, cool.
I also have this one on cassette. In Chile, the American cassette was very hard to find. It comes with the lyrics.
All right.
I mean, that's one of my treasures. The thing that I wanted to talk to you about is the colors and the design behind the covers. I listened to the real thing, and I really got the image of the cover in my mind. I think that maybe the theme, the song, the real thing has a cosmic appeal. That fire, you know, the clouds. Mm-hmm. It has an otherworldly texture. I think that album, Life and Death, are very much in that record. And then we get the angel dust that has that blue coldness to it, that is distant but is near, and has that dichotomy of this bird, this garza. But you turn the cover, you turn the artwork, and you have a cow, you know, slaughtered in a chamber, you know. It has pretty much the dichotomy. The musical psychology it comes from the artwork itself, and then you have this album that has this red, this dog that I found here, you know, this, and the color red. It has the songs has the temperature of the, you know, it's hot from the beginning.
Yes.
And the album of the year has that tonality of maybe melancholic from the cover itself.
Definitely. Everything that you're feeling it was our intention. Actually, you're correctly getting what we wanted to do with these covers and the feeling that we had. I mean, sometimes it's difficult to describe feelings, and that's why music and mixing it with artwork is kind of cool, because you don't have to tell people a feeling. You can just give them that feeling, right? And the music, how the music was recorded, you know, how we wrote the songs, you know, and look at Angel Dust, that all fits together for me. It's all consistent. They all complement each other. And that's really important, because you want to make one single statement that it's not just the lyrics. It's not just, you know, the guitar tone. It's not just, you know, a lot of things. It's everything. It's a final piece. That's why it takes us so long to do it, and why we're not happy, and why it's a lot of work, and why our records are a pain in the ass, is because until we get to that thing where it all makes sense, it's not finished. So I'm glad that your impressions were the ones that we intended to have. So that's cool.
Great.
Good work.
No,
you passed.
One thing is hearing Faith No More from the albums in Spotify, whatever. Some people discover them or revisit them. Another thing completely, it's, you know, watch you guys live. And I saw you at Santiago Gets Louder here in Chile, maybe the last time, if I recall correctly. And I was by the side of the stage, and I got a perspective of you playing the bass. And I was so impressed, because the fact that I never see, I always see you from the front, but this time I got to be from the sideline.
You can feel it. Yeah.
And every time you pulse that bass, you can feel it in your chest. And also the way you move, you were hitting the amps behind you. And I was so worried, because you didn't seem to care. And the amps were moving like this. And I was, Oh my God! And I don't know if you recall that, but Deftones played System of a Down,
That's
Gojira,
right. I
etc.
do remember. Yeah.
And those guys were beside me, and they were coming from their shows or preparing their own shows. They were in the midst of that, and they saw you. And I gotta tell you, they were pretty emotional and happy to see this band live.
That's
So
cool.
that was
That's cool.
astonishing to see. And I got to see you in a way that I never get to see you. So that was amazing. You were in maybe in trance or
That's how we play. That's our approach. We're all like that. All of us. This is what I like. I mean, when we're really in the right headspace, I mean, we really don't do halfway shows because it is like a trance for us. And also where you were standing was, you got the pleasure from my side because you could feel the bass there. Sometimes it gets in the audience and there's a sound mix and you hear the musical perspective, but you're not seeing what puts me in a trance. And when you can feel it, you can really get into it. I think the rhythm part but the chest, the feeling in the chest, it's a big part.
Maybe that's why Fate No More, and maybe of all the guys, you're the one that can answer this question. Maybe that's why Fate No More hasn't been putting, Blu-rays all the time of concert lives, or maybe that's why, because to be there is so, you have to be there. I mean, maybe that's one of the answers, or not.
Well, good question. We always put emphasis on the event. Like the show is an event, and every show before we play, we all don't really know what's going to go. We have a map with the set list, but we really are pretty open to anything happening. And back like in the Angel Dust period, like we had really, really crazy shows. There was all kinds of crazy shit that happened. I'm surprised more people didn't get hurt, actually, to be honest. And we got a lot of charge out of it. There's something about really living in the moment where things are almost a little bit dangerous. If we play now, it's those days are over in a way. It's never going to really be that dangerous. We're too old to really do much damage. But there's something about that being in that moment that I mean, it's good for us. It makes us feel good. But why we didn't record it live and have more live, it might be a hard thing to capture. I've seen videos of us before, and it doesn't feel the same as what I remember of some of these shows.
And maybe for all the guys, watching this interview that follow Fate No More or are discovering Fate No More, I gotta tell you, maybe the best way to see them or revisit those times is by a handheld camera in the tumultuous,
maybe so.
climate of the situation, because I saw the 92 Warfield Theater in San Francisco when you play G-Slover. It's on YouTube, and then I pushed play to the Phoenix Festival in '93, and those are brutal shows.
Yeah.
I mean, and
they
the
could
sound
be that
is
way.
taken from this, and the sound is taken from the soundboards from the
right.
So you can hear it amazingly,
wow. Okay.
but you're in the crowd because someone is tapping it with their phones. In La Gala in Chile, Fate No More played, and you started a strip search with Chariots of Fire. Vangelis theme. Vangelis passed away. I don't know, and Last Cup of Sorrow, you watch that video clip and you see Alfred Hitchcock's Vertigo, and you say, right, here is that's gotta be Midnight Cowboy, the cover on the Angel Dust album. There's gotta be a movie conversation at the core of Fate No More when these things happen. I mean, you talk as much as films and music when you are creating?
This is very interesting. Roddy, I mean, I went through school. He was a member of the film corps. He studied filmmaking. He's always watched films since I've known him, since kids. Mike Patton watches films all the time. All the time. We tour together and we don't watch films on the tour bus. We don't do it. We don't talk about films very much. I mean, I've watched films. I'm not as film literate as either of those two guys, but I know what I like and I have my thing. Yeah, we don't. We all are film oriented, but we don't talk about them together. Odd, huh? It's really a strange thing.
Do you think Angel Dust? I mean, Angel Dust has the vibe of underground film footage. The music not always shows what
Definitely.
It is. Huh?
Yes, if you were going to say an underground film or a commercial film, I would say more underground than commercial, for sure. Yeah. And
do you think if Angel Dust were a movie, do you think that movie will come out in the 70s where everyone was taking more risky?
I would say I think that's a great, and also when the film color was very saturated. Yeah. I would say that's right. I think that's a very good way to put it. Yes. It would be a 70s film.
I always think of Coppola, fighting for his vision on Apocalypse Now.
Mm-hmm. Maybe Sam Peckinpah more. Bring me the head of Alfredo Garcia. That's maybe a little Angel Dust how I see it.
Billy, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I miss it down there. I want to be down there again soon.
Yep.
I hope. And thank you for everyone also for being interested in this thing that we did 30 years ago. It means a lot.
Un abrazo.
Okay. Ciao, man.
Thank you.